lot of people are going literally in their backyard, shooting something, processing it in their house, and putting it right on the table for their family. Like, that to me is beautiful. Hunting can be really expensive. You basically have to...
Hey everyone, so Jubilee, a large channel on YouTube, just released a brand new video, Is Eating Animals Wrong? Hunters versus Vegans. Now something tells me this video is going to give us a lot to talk about. So I thought I'd do a reaction as we watch the video together, as well as respond to some specific points. Now given the length of the video, and the fact that there's a lot of things I'm probably going to want to talk about, I'll probably break this into multiple videos. I also want to make sure I include the entire original video, and I also don't want to rush through the points I want to make. So if you want to see the other parts, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You should see that little orange button in the corner over here, or over here. I don't know, just look down, you should see it. With that, let's watch the new episode of Middle Ground together.
If we were all born like 3 centuries from now, the world has been globalized and like agriculture can reach every corner of the globe, how would that affect, if at all, your views or your choices?
Am I going to be judged if I say not at all?
I became vegan because I could no longer think about eating something that was once living and breathing.
The primary thing that keeps me vegan is just always the animal liberation. The idea that we are trying to push our ideas onto others. That stereotype I've experienced the most.
Hunting is a very hard concept for people to understand. I am in Texas, it's a lot more acceptable, even though being a woman who hunts, people still, have a really hard time with that concept.
I feel like a lot of people think vegans are more effeminate. People will question your sexuality oftentimes.
I grew up in a rural village, living off the land. The way we live is in total respect to the animals, and I think there's so much that people do not know about indigenous culture.
My name is Danny. I'm queer, I'm vegan, and I'm multiracial.
Hi, my name is Don Marvens. I've been a vegan for coming on 6 years now. I'm a freelance photographer, and I recently moved to the LA area.
My name is Nina. I'm 24. I've been vegan for coming up on 5 years now, and I'm a professional astrologer.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm Koyukon Dene from Alaska. I'm a first-generation college graduate, and I went to school in the California area, and I'm currently on a road trip visiting friends to learn whose land I'm on.
I am Carly, I'm from Texas. I'm a wife, a mom. I also do sales and marketing consulting.
The first prompt is, I care about animals' well-being. Walk forward if you agree.
Is that surprising to y'all that 2 hunters walked over?
I would love to hear why. Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Hunters have the utmost respect for animals. And I think that's a really hard thing for people to see. It's how can you love something and respect something that you kill? It's just a hard concept, right? Conservation is a big reason why I hunt. It not only provides food for my family, but I can shoot a certain number of deer each year, and that will keep that population and that herd thriving. I
guess I've never really came at this conversation from like an angle of vegans versus hunters. Is always vegans versus a meat eater. Mm-hmm. So I understand, in a sense, the respect you have to what you're doing. I just know that I could never do that.
Yeah, and I think that for me is one of my maybe more bigger issues, is not with vegans, but it's more people who eat meat but don't understand hunting. So you're gonna eat meat that was slaughtered at a factory. Right. But I can't just give a deer one swift, great bullet in the heart where it dies out where it's supposed to die.
I was one of those people that said I could never even be vegetarian. Like, I was probably like the people that you're describing, just, not having a connection to what they're eating. I didn't think about it. And then As streaming services go, I found a little documentary through the suggestions.
It changed your life.
And it changed my life. And like I remember I went to brunch that morning and I had like sausage and egg and like fried cheese. And then that night I watched this documentary. And so that's why I'm vegan, because I can't support like us as an industry and as a populace, like removing the choice from that large of a swath of animal populations just because they're animals.
If there was a solution, like just the magic happens, the skies part, and all the meat is like done in a way that is humane, would that make you more inclined to eat meat?
I think that you sort of get into the fundamentals of like, is it humane to kill something? I have to understand and respect and honor that like in indigenous cultures, you know, there's many reasons why people hunt. We would all be remiss if we didn't admit that, you know, at a time in human history, like we needed animal protein and animal meat to survive. But today, it's not necessarily a necessity.
I was being taught ethical hunting by an ethical hunter. And again, I think that's a harder concept here, because trust me, like they're asshole hunters. But that's what I saw conservation and I saw ethical hunting and I saw why we do it and I saw the food. You know, I haven't bought beef. I mean, in 6-7 years.
Can I ask you a question that I'm kind of scared to ask?
And we'll see.
So you said that you're a mother, and if you think of like Bambi, do you ever consider the small baby animals that you're taking their parents away from them?
Okay. So Bambi doesn't exist. Right. That's a Disney movie. If a mom is there with her yearlings, you would never kill that mom, right? You wait until she kicks them out of the house.
And that's part of like ethical hunting.
That is like, yeah, no one really, like you wait until the babies are kicked out.
I learned from my Tlingit cousins, they're from the southeastern Alaska. They're the ones that invented the fish hook. It was so wide that only a full-grown halibut could get caught. It's a generational thought. You're not just thinking about, oh, I need food tonight. You're like, how do I make sure I protect their natural processes? When fish hooks are made now, anything can go out. So many of our pre-colonial traditions were staying in balance with animals, and we had so many practices that prevented overhunting. And the people who are living off the land, who are fighting for the land, are getting last priority. We're not allowed to fish if there's commercial fishing. We're constantly being watched and fined. It's constantly having land taken away. If you look at any community, it's constantly happening to them where they're told they're not allowed to do this or eat this. It's all connected, it's all a cycle.
Veganism is a privileged way of living.
If you have a choice of where you get to get your food and where it comes from, and even knowing about it is a privilege.
To have the choice to be vegan, that includes, you know, makeup and clothing and all of these things. And, you know, sustainable clothing, for example, is a top dollar if you're trying to buy it new. And thrifting is great, but some people don't even have access to that. And so I think that choice is a privilege and veganism is a choice.
I was born in Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and the fact that my parents were able to leave with me when I was just like 1 year old into the States, like really shaped how my life would go. The lifestyle that I'm living is such a stark contrast from the people down in the Caribbean.
I feel like I have to talk about how veganism, especially in the States and especially in like the global West, has been totally co-opted by, like, I'm just gonna say it, by whiteness. Veganism shouldn't be a privilege, in my opinion, but it is. Like, the world that we live in now, it is.
I don't know enough about being a vegan. I think of it as like something that rich white people do, but I don't know. I don't know any vegans. I don't know how much money it costs.
Yeah, a lot of people also from lower income backgrounds or areas, they also rely on fast food. And that stuff is really cheap because, as far as I understand, the government subsidizes meat and animal products much more than it does vegetables.
When we think about someone who has to work a low-wage job to survive, You also have to think they're probably working more than one job, possibly. You want the easiest meals. You want the highest calorie meals because you're working and you're burning so many calories. So when you're saying, why don't you eat more plant-based? You're asking them to change their shopping habits. You're asking them to spend more time. You're asking them to educate themselves. And when you are working that hard, you have to numb yourself. You are eating to survive. That is different than choosing what you're eating.
Totally. And it's not fair to like ask any of those people in survival mode to completely like shift their way of life and learn a whole new lifestyle. And I definitely agree with that. I'm just curious, like, if we were all born like 3 centuries from now, the world has been globalized and like agriculture can reach every corner of the globe, how would that affect, if at all, your views or your choices?
Am I going to be judged if I say not at all?
I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to eat meat. I don't want to say there's no reason to not eat meat, but there's maybe no reason for me not to eat meat.
I get it.
I'm feeling judged.
I'm not judging,
you
but
know,
I don't understand. I'll be honest, I don't understand.
I mean, like, I still cry when I kill something. I mean, I love the animals, but they're still just animals. Like, it's okay to eat one. Everyone's been eating meat forever.
That's true.
You know, and
It's been a
there's
long
never
time
been
practice.
a culture ever that was 100% vegan. You know, they have shifted. They're plant-based and Mediterranean and Buddhist, and they have moved towards a culture who was 100% vegan. I don't think has ever existed.
It sounds like it's a natural order kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting to hear because I'm firmly of the belief that like we are animals. So for me, the natural order perspective doesn't hold a lot of water.
Do you guys have pets? Like, and in other parts of the world, what you would consider your pet, some people would eat.
But that's there. I mean, like, I don't eat my dog, and I hope none of you don't eat my dog. But that's, you know, I mean, I can't worry about someone in China eating dogs. Like, we can all try to make the world a better place. And
It's interesting though, because it does kind of challenge the natural order perspective. Like,
Where do you draw the line?
Right.
Something to think about in this conversation too is knowing that even when we eat plants, there's so many people that we're exploiting.
Yes.
The core of this, I think, is just having that respect for your food.
I fully agree with that. I think it's such a falsehood when vegans say cruelty-free. The avocados that I eat, were harvested by people that are being exploited. So
Do you guys consider hunting a privilege?
isn't everything a privilege to a point, right? A lot of people are going literally in their backyard, shooting something, processing it in their house, and putting it right on the table for their family. Like, that to me is beautiful. Hunting can be really expensive. You basically have to have a huge ranch, or you have to spend a ton of money to hunt on someone else's ranch. And then I think what a lot of people see are, right, the trophy hunters and the going over to Africa and hunting. I have not done that yet. That does not mean that I am not for it or against it. I do know that tourism in Africa is a huge moneymaker for them. I mean, those villages are really poor, and having an entire animal and multiple animals that hunters give them it's big for them.
My question with that would just be, why would it have to be a tourist? It kind of just sounds like the white savior complex narrative.
Because we're willing to pay a shitload of money.
I remember reading a statistic about like a single elephant in its lifetime can garner over $1 million just from photographic tourism. One single elephant's ivory is about $21,000. So just that in itself, like, to me, is evidence that like non-violent tourism, like non-trophy hunting tourism, like is just as lucrative, if not more lucrative than trophy hunting.
Hunting is only acceptable if it's for food.
Oh wait, I agree with this.
Come on, Britt.
If this was asked first, I would have disagreed. But after hearing your story, it is necessary to an extent.
If you're hunting for food, then you're saying that your life is more important than that other animal's life. And that is more reasonable to me than saying that your pleasure or your trophy or whatever is more important than an animal's life.
There's also safety, which I now realize, and it's like almost 2 hours if you needed a medical emergency evacuation. So yeah, I don't know any killing besides safety and like food, and then we still try to make the most out of the body and the fur, and we'll try to like feed it to the dog team. So
There is just the biology of land, and there's biology of carrying capacity, and there's biology of how these animals have to be, you know, taken care of. I know that if people are not hunting, those deer are gonna starve. There's not enough food, there's not enough water, there's not enough shelter. So to me, I will take one for the team and I will shoot a few deer this year to keep the land in check and the ecosystem in check.
I don't disagree that maintaining equilibrium of an ecosystem is important. My question to that would be like, what's actually sitting at the root cause of the deer overpopulation? Is the root cause that people aren't hunting enough, or is the root cause that their land is being taken away? But me making assumptions, hunting is a Band-Aid solution.
Like, I wish I could answer a very smart and like, well, based on data, done. I mean, look at Los Angeles and Dallas, and like, where are animals going?
Right.
They're dying. You know, I mean, but what is the solution? I don't know.
the US a lot of the times has tried to decide what animals need to go or not without the guidance of indigenous people who have been doing this for thousands of years and who have relationships with the animals. There are solutions, there are people that know it, and we need to push people in power to uplift voices who have this knowledge.
My diet is healthier.
Hey, girl.
Hey. The question is healthier than what? I chose to come up here because my diet is healthier than when I was not eating a vegan diet. I love a Beyond Burger. Is that healthier than eating rice, beans, and collard greens every day? No, it's not. Do I believe that eating plant-based is healthier than eating animal products? Yes.
And if you're super, super intentional and informed about what you're putting in your body, then it's gonna be healthier than someone who's not.
That's also healthier on an emotional and mental level. There's this detachment, this emotional detachment that you're going through when you're eating an animal, and that to me is emotionally unhealthy. I think awareness is one of the healthiest things that we can have.
I know if you like search veganism like online, especially on YouTube, you can see very dangerous vegan diets being like just told to like a massive audience of like young impressionable people. But Oreos are vegan, Twizzlers are vegan, and it's been 1 a.m. and I'm down to sleep with Oreos. And I'm just like, why did I do that?
Just wait till you're 30.
Yeah, I'm 24, so I feel like I'll just keep on kicking. I don't know.
Coming here, I want to be very careful in extremes. Like my meat is, my diet is healthier. I don't know that, I don't know you, I don't know you, I don't know you. I believe the meat I eat is better than what you would get at McDonald's. I just think it would be so hard to be a vegan. Like it seems like so much work.
There's a learning curve.
It's not hard in the grand scheme of things. I feel a lot better putting in the work because I feel more empowered, I guess you could say. The definition of veganism is just as far as what is practicable and possible. It's all about doing your best.
Hey, thank you.
Well, there you have it. They obviously covered a lot in that episode, from indigenous animal use to ethical hunting to human health. And for those of you who've been watching me for a bit, know I have a particular interest in language, so I may have a point or two to make around the language they used also. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see the next part where I start to respond to the individual points and break them down from the perspective of animal rights. If all goes to plan, I'll probably release that on this Sunday. I hope you're all having a great week. Hopefully it's sunny where you are, and I'll see you then. For free resources, such as a discussion guide and language document, check out veganinteractions.com. Thanks for watching.